Shortly after my sister's first husband, he got out of prison, and he was a big time drug dealer. He was a cocaine dealer. He was a heroin dealer, and I started hanging out with him, and the drugs were free. I didn't know at the time that, I didn't know that, I mean, I heard people talk about heroin, but I had no idea, like, the stream of it. I was using it more as a tool. At least I thought it was. That's what I was telling myself. I was using that to come down on cocaine so I could go home to my girlfriend thinking she don't know that I'm getting high now. I'm thinking that I got it all figured out. So that ends up turning into a monumental drug habit. And of course, my brother-in-law winds up going to prison. So there's no more free drugs. So now I have a huge problem on my hand. Not only the drug habit, but I have no access to the drugs. So I started turning to all kinds of things that I never dreamed of. I committed crimes. I've done things to my own family that I would probably kill somebody else if they did it. But in the year 2000, a girl stopped by my house and she gave me she offered me some Xanax. I was waiting to score, trying to get heroin. I was almost halfway to being what they call dope sick. And she told me it'd probably take the edge off. So she gives me a handful of them. She left. I took one. I'm not feeling anything. So I'm thinking, I'm a big guy, man. I took the other 4, maybe 3. I don't know. I took a bunch, way too many. The guy finally called to give me the drugs. I remember leaving to go meet him. I don't remember getting the dope. I don't remember doing it. But I woke up in jail. First thing I remember is looking over and the guy next to me was like, "Holy crap, man, you're alive." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Man, they were literally like, when you first come in, you get your fingerprints, then they'll take you to another cell and maybe let you use the phone. Then they'll take you over here and use the nurse." They said they were dragging me by my feet from cell to cell. I was completely incoherent, but I woke up in jail and I didn't have a clue. I had no idea why I was in jail. My dad, the same one that bounced my mom's head off the sidewalk, turned out, he later in life was one of my biggest enablers. If that was why, I don't know, but he had me bonded out of jail before I even knew I was in there. And after I went and scored, I guess I left and I was attempting to drive. I ended up crashing the car. I hit a man on the sidewalk. He ended up losing one of his legs. Long story short, he was okay. He lived. Me and him ended up being okay down the road, friends actually. But I did 6 years in prison for that, and I did 6 years in prison. I tell you, I think within a month of me getting out, I was addicted to heroin again. I got out in March 2007. I got locked back. I got reincarcerated on Father's Day of 2007. Was that 3 months? I was out for 3 months, and I went back. And in 2010, my father used to come see me every week. He came every week on a Sunday. He'd come see me the whole time, every time. But I'm there at the prison over that, and it was a Saturday, and they called me to the visitation park, and they never call me to the visitation park on a Saturday. It's always Sunday. So immediately something wasn't right. But as soon as I walked into that park and I seen my father and the look on his face, I knew he was going to tell me something that was going to change my life. And what he told me was my mom was sick. She was in a coma. And she came out of the coma. They wouldn't let me go see her. I ended up speaking to her on the phone, and she passed away about a week later from cirrhosis of the liver. She died at 55 years old from drinking alcohol. I never got a chance to say goodbye. I got out, got back into my addiction, got to a point where I was homeless. I got a citation. I'm gonna frame it one day when I go around and do motivational speaking, but I got a citation for holding a cardboard sign at a red light in Orlando, Florida. You see them everywhere, holding a sign, begging for money. That was me. And shortly after that, my father died in the hospital. And the last week of his life, like, everybody was going to see him. He's asking for me, but nobody can find me. Like, I'm running the street. I'm literally out in the street shooting dope, and my dad's dying, and he's asking everybody where I'm at. my entire family looking for me. Nobody found me, and he died without me seeing him. I'm walking up to a Burger King and I see one of my childhood friends, and he took one look at me. He's like, bro, you don't even know. I'm like, know what? He's like, man, your dad, he's gone. So over the next few weeks, I did a lot of things. I ended up going back to prison because I tried to take a weed eater out of the back of somebody's truck. And I got out homeless again. I didn't have anywhere to go. My sister didn't trust me at the time. My mom and dad were gone. And I was walking through that same neighborhood I grew up, and I found about 30 bags of heroin on the ground. I wasn't even getting high. I just got out of prison. I was homeless, and I found it. I started picking them up, as many as I could pick up. Everywhere I looked, it's another one. So I walked around the corner to one of my friend's house, and the last thing I remember was asking him to try it for me. He tried it. He told me it was good. I think he might have gave me a needle. I left, and I woke up in the hospital. And when I woke up in the hospital, I didn't know why I was there. And the lady started explaining it to me. Come to find out, man, I OD'd. They hit me with Narcan 4 times on the side of the road. I was unresponsive. There was about a dozen people out there. One of those people was the mother of my daughter. And after I called my family and stuff, I come to find out that the information, my daughter's mother called my daughter and told her I was dead. That's the information she passed on to my daughter. So the whole time I was there at the hospital for several hours, my daughter was living under the impression that I was gone, that I was dead. So that was the day for me. I don't know if it was God or what. I just know when I left that hospital, I left there with a purpose. I didn't know what things would be added to me. I didn't know where I would end up. I definitely didn't think I would end up here with 100,000 followers on TikTok. I just knew I could never let my daughter get that phone call again. And it's been hard, man. Some days I crawl, some days I walk, and some days I feel like I'm running. But I just, I fight through the tough times. And I've come to learn, man, when you start fighting back and you make it through the tough parts, man, you pick up tools and you gain wisdom and you get stronger and you end up finding your purpose. And, they all like to say we have addictive personalities. I think we all just haven't found our purpose yet. We don't have our energy focus in the right area. But here we are.
How old was your daughter when all of that happened, when she thought she had passed?
That was how old was she? That was almost 3 years ago. So 22. We had that's a whole nother story. Our relationship, we didn't talk for almost 10 years while I was in prison. I wrote her a few letters. It was crazy. Actually, her stepfather, my daughter's stepfather, his mother is the woman that kept me in contact with my daughter through the time I was in prison. I had to send the letters through her. But that woman, anyway, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how has that, how did that relationship start to mend? Was that the time when you were writing letters? Did she receive them? And when did that bond
start to mend?
Mm-hmm.
Our relationship didn't start to mend until that day that I overdosed and I started to change my life. Mm-hmm. We were almost on unspeaking terms up until that point.
Wow. So that's kind of like, I don't want to say a blessing, because finding out your parents gone would be like the most horrific thing I could imagine. But it's so funny how those things that are like the worst days of our life end up being the things that bring us together with our loved ones, or just kind of break through all the bullshit barriers and gets rid of the ego. And it's just like you really think about what's important in life.
Yeah, the crazy thing is she's got a friend right now struggling with addiction, and she's calling me for advice now.
Oh my gosh, that must make your day. I mean, not that your friend, but just to be there as a father, like a father
Absolutely.
should be. What freedom. Wow.
You've got a little one too.
Grandkids.
Oh yeah, she's got three kids, 3 grandkids. So I'm a quick story. So I told you about the mother-in-law, or my daughter's stepdad. His mom is the one that I wrote my letters to when I was in prison to have contact with my daughter. So that's the house I was going to. When I went back to Florida in December on vacation, I was taking my new wife and my stepdaughter to meet that family. And their daughter, Jenny, is the one that I told you. I'm getting this tied up into the conversation we had before we started our live. I'm sorry.
No, it's great. We'd love for you to
We
share
want to
that.
hear it.
Yeah.
But they don't understand what I'm saying though.
Why don't we start from that story? Because I think it's important. It's really the timing. It's important to share. So Brian's going to share about something we were talking about before we went live. So if you can take us up to that trip, how exciting it was for you to take your family now in recovery down to Florida for.
All right. Well, I'm gonna instead of trying to explain exactly who she is, her name was Miss Randy. This woman, she runs a daycare out of her house. Me and all my friends know her. All our kids know her. She's just an amazing woman. We all look up to her. And her son, Fred, was one of my best friends. I watched all her kids grow up. We grew up together. And actually, the day that I overdosed, she was the first person I talked to on the phone. She's the one that told me, she said, Brian, I don't know why you made it, but you got a purpose. She said, you need to figure it out. You made it for a reason. But I wanted to take my wife to meet this lady so bad, because I felt so good. I'm finally clean, and I really wanted her to see me. My mom's gone. This woman is the closest thing I have to a family, to a mother figure. And as we're driving down from Texas, I didn't know it at the time, but literally it had to have been like the same time I'm crossing the border to come into Texas. Miss Randy's youngest daughter is overdosing in the bedroom in her home. And that's where I took my wife the very next morning after I got in Florida. We still went over there, but it was bittersweet. I'm going back to celebrate now. Man, her daughter literally just died in this house a few hours ago. And I'm born and raised in Florida. I'm 43 years old, man. I went down there for a dream vacation. And the very last thing I did before I got in the car and drove to Texas was attend that girl's funeral, man. And she got 3 beautiful kids, and it's just so sad. And that's a huge reason why I wouldn't even say it gave me the courage to start telling my story. I just feel like, man, there's no other choice. I have to at this point. Just losing too many people is life and death now.